I think that, I think that BBC are still a bit stuffy because they get complaints and, they're a sort of government body, so they fear complaints. But live, no, anything, it's just, no.
Well, when you go on the Golden Globes, a lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
thank you.
So this is, well, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that.
In today's fast-changing world of comedy, one thing remains clear. Humor should be fearless. Comedy has always thrived on tackling tough, uncomfortable, and sometimes controversial issues. But in a culture that's increasingly focused on political correctness, it's more important than ever to keep comedy unapologetic and unafraid to stir the pot. The world of stand-up and satire is constantly evolving, but at its heart, it's about speaking uncomfortable truths, challenging societal norms, and, yes, sometimes offending people. It's essential to remember that what offends one person might not bother someone else. And just because someone is offended, it doesn't mean they're automatically right. Comedy isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about using humor to confront tough issues and spark thought-provoking conversations. In fact, trying to avoid offending anyone in comedy is a losing battle. After all, the best
This time he's taken on all of humanity. Please welcome back the fabulous and quite funny Ricky Gervais. So, before we get into what the special is about, the question everybody wanted me to ask you is, are you excited about the royal wedding?
You can't even say it with a straight face. Am I excited about the royal family?
Yeah.
No.
The royal wedding.
No, I'm not excited about it. Listen, I've got nothing against the royal family, but I don't like any of that sort of frivolous nonsense.
Right.
Gossip. I actually know William and Harry. They've come to about 2 or 3 of my gigs, but no, I mean, it's on every paper all the time. Every minute show, it's like, oh, no, I'm not interested at all.
I wonder,
Thanks for asking.
Just on the same subject, though, when I was in England trying to do stand-up there, you can't say anything about the Queen. They have a fit, and they won't laugh. Is that true when you do it?
No, not anymore. Not my
Well, it was then.
No, I mean, I think that, I think that BBC are still a bit stuffy because they get complaints and, they're a sort of government body, so they fear complaints. But live, no, anything, it's just, no.
Well, when you go on the Golden Globes, a lot of time you are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
So this is,
well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended.
Forces us to look at ourselves and the world in ways we might not be comfortable with. After a 7-year hiatus, one comedian is back with a stand-up special that takes on nothing less than the entirety of humanity. This isn't just comedy. It's a bold commentary on the state of the world today, and it's ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about humor and free speech. When it comes to comedy, nothing is off limits. In today's world, humor often delves into deep irony and confronts societal taboos, even if not everyone will find it funny.
Offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? So you can't second guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that. But, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So if you're saying anything, you should polarise. You should polarise because everyone's different. So,
but this year you didn't host, and do you miss the fact that this was a Weinstein year?
Oh, I was salivating. Honestly, I got an adrenaline rush thinking of what I could say and whether I'd have to go to jail. And I like that opportunity because I do like that. When there's a tension, when there's an elephant in the room. Although he wasn't there this year. I do like that because I do like confronting that because I think it takes the audience to a place it hasn't been before. And it can be a mutual backslapping, fest, fine, but don't televise it, because I'm not doing it for the 200 egos in the room. I'm doing it for the 200 million people watching around who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires, and who don't care about winning the awards.
Humanity, which we mentioned, is your first comedy special in 7 years, and you say that it's the right time for it, the subject matter.
Yeah, well, I left it for 7 years, not on purpose. I was doing other things. I did a series, I did Derek, I did a couple of movies, and I pushed it back because I always thought that stand-up was like the second or third thing I did, whereas now...
But that's the beauty of it. Comedy is a tool for challenging norms and sparking the kind of tough conversations that we need, but are often too uncomfortable to have. Take, for example, the whole concept of being offended. Just because someone is offended doesn't mean they're automatically right. Offense is based on feelings, and feelings are deeply personal. What one person finds offensive may not even register with someone else. And that's what makes comedy so powerful. It creates space to explore those uncomfortable truths, even when it means stepping on a few toes. Now, when it comes to the royal family or other such cultural topics, there's a fine line between making fun of the status quo and crossing
else up, because it's such a privilege, and freedom of speech is so important these days. And you've got, you know, and I've reached the age now where I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
welcome aboard.
What's the worst that can happen?
Welcome aboard.
I'm going to die soon.
Yeah.
So I'm offended. I'm going to die. So what? You know, so...
You made enough money at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to care.
You know, I'm going to give that to animals anyway, just to see the look on my stupid family's face.
where people might shut down or not laugh. It's easy to see how certain topics, like the monarchy, can get people riled up. But that's exactly why these issues need to be confronted head-on, without fear of backlash. Comedy has always been about testing boundaries and keeping the conversation alive. Whether addressing the royal wedding or taking on broader cultural conversations, the goal of good comedy isn't to please everyone. It's to provoke thought and make us reflect on the things we often shy away from. And if you happen to offend someone along the way, that's just part of the game. Because in the end, comedy is supposed to make us think, laugh, and occasionally feel a little uncomfortable. Comedy has always been about pushing boundaries.
It's nice to look back and it's a celebration. I talk about my mum and dad and who aren't with us anymore, and jokes about the mum and mum's funeral. You know, because that's what I think that's what humour's for. It gets us over bad stuff. So it's a sin to joke about all the bad things. That's a waste, because that's exactly what we should joke about.
I also feel that when you talk about people who have gone to the next world, whatever that is, that you're keeping them alive in a way.
Well, yeah, they exist.
Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And, you know, I tell it, you know, there was a lot of truth, so I tell the truth, you know. It's not just this idealised view of your mum. You tell, you know, why. So, I remember when I was 12, I got older brothers and sisters, which is why I'm like I am, I suppose. I had to show off to be heard, right? And they're much older than me. They're like 11, 13 and 14 years older than me. And I remember when I was about 12, I said to my mum, why are my brothers and sisters so much older than me? And she said, you were a mistake.
And there you have it.
World. It's no different. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. That's why comedy has to address taboos and tackle contentious issues head-on. Sometimes you have to deal in irony, something that may not always land with everyone, but it's part of the package. After all, you can't legislate against stupidity. If you tried, you'd end up saying nothing at all. The beauty of comedy is its power to polarize. Not everyone's going to laugh, and that's okay. The goal isn't to make everyone feel comfortable. It's to spark thought, challenge perspectives, and occasionally make people squirm. A comedy is about confronting difficult truths in a way that takes audiences to places they might not have expected. When it comes to big moments, like hosting major events, there's something exhilarating about the tension, about speaking to millions of people and addressing the elephant in the room. It's about doing it for the viewers at home. The ones who aren't part of the exclusive crowd, but who are watching and thinking, what is going on here? It's a way to engage with a wider audience, not just the 200 people in the room who may already have their egos stroked. The real magic happens when you challenge the audience and push them